be going over the most forgotten map in every Call of Duty. We'll also decide if it deserves a remake or if it deserves to stay where it's at in the past. Let's dive in. Okay, we are starting off in Call of Duty 4 and we are gonna go with Shipment. I'm just kidding. Could you imagine that's the first map we start off with Shipment? We've gotten it 17,000 times. But anyway, we are gonna go with Creek. Now, if you have no idea what this map is, I don't blame you because it was a part of the Variety DLC map pack. The first map pack, the only map pack we got in COD 4. Now, there's gonna be a little trend with the golden age of Call of Duties because let's be honest, a lot of these DLC packs people didn't buy, which means they didn't even play this map. But this was like this outdoor map, ravine, some houses, a little river in the middle of it. Honestly, it was not a bad map at all, but I just feel like we could have probably went with another one from this pack, but I feel like people remember the training mission from the first campaign mission. Chinatown's another one from this pack, but I feel like people remember that. So Creek is just the one map I went, man, I don't think anybody remembers this. I would be down for a remake. I actually, if you did play it, it was a very solid map. I'm not gonna lie to you. I might need to go back and revisit this one, to be honest. Well, next up, World at War. We're gonna keep the same theme. We're gonna go with a map pack map, and it's actually gonna be Breach. And this is from the final map pack. And this is like a dusty, war-torn French town. I mean, honestly, kind of fit the vibe of the World War II shooter that we had, but it just dropped so late in the game's life cycle. You know how Call of Duty is. We already moved to the next Call of Duty. People knew it was going to be Modern Warfare 2, so the hype was off the charts for that. People didn't really buy the last map pack, and if they did, let's be honest, it was kind of overshadowed by zombies. People weren't playing it for the multiplayer. And by then, we also learned that you would get kicked out and your friends would not be able to play with you if they didn't buy the map pack. So I feel like people kind of stopped buying these map packs by the last one. So Breach, would I bring it back? It wouldn't work today. I don't think we would bring this one back. Modern Warfare 2 brings us to another DLC map, and this one is Fuel. This is actually the perfect example of a forgotten map. Now, it released in the Resurgence map pack. It was this massive oil refinery with no flow. It took forever to get back into fights. I don't know, they must have been copying Battlefield at this time again, but it was just a terrible map. And it had a glitch, which some of you may know about this glitch, but you could get into a rock, you became immortal, you couldn't die. Most people would camp in there and get the nukes despite taking the entire game because of how big the map was. The funny thing was, I feel like this map is so forgotten that the devs might have forgotten about it because they didn't fix the rock glitch for like months. Devs forgot about it. I forgot about it. You probably forgot about it. Would I bring this map back? Absolutely not. All right, now we're up to Black Ops 1. And for me, I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. I loved Black Ops 1. Probably one of the most underrated Call of Duties, one of my favorites. And this is another map pack map. This is Convoy. Now, this was in the Annihilation DLC. Like I said, I played a bunch of Black Ops 1. I don't know if I played this map more than 2 or 3 times. Could it have been because of the DLC thing where you couldn't play with your friends? Could it have been where it just was a terrible map and nobody voted it? That was probably the actual answer. It was like this bridge, crash trucks everywhere. Again, not a big flow. And this was also the map pack with the zombies that was Shangri-La or whatever it was called. And I feel like that map was not liked by a lot of people. So again, I don't know if anybody actually bought this DLC. Maybe not. We can leave this map in the past as well. I'm out on this one. Black Ops 1 had some good DLC maps though. This one was not one of them. So for Modern Warfare 3, I am going with Black Box. Now, originally, I thought that this was straight out of the campaign, the mission where the Russian president gets taken, and I'm like, okay, that's a great concept. People on Twitter actually corrected me and said that it was not. It was just in the middle of California, and this is just kind of a random spot. But still, I don't remember this map at all. And I guess that's the reason it was the elite subscriptions, that DLC map pack. And I can tell you one thing about MW3. They added the button where you could remove the maps from the bonus maps and the DLC maps. Everybody did that. So I went back and looked at a lot of the MW3 maps for DLC. I don't remember half of them. So we probably could have put a bunch of them on this list just because I was always hitting that start button to get rid of them. The funny thing was, you actually look at this map, and I don't know if any of you guys played X-Defiant, but there was a map in that game that looks exactly like this. Funny story, Mark Rubin, who led X-Defiant, also led Modern Warfare 3. I think he might have borrowed the design a little bit. As for what I wanted back in Call of Duty, I honestly think I would. It's a great layout and design, and it worked well in X-Defiant. I'm saying bring this one back. People might not know what the heck it is. Maybe just classify it as a new map. Nobody would even know. Black Ops 2. Now, I feel like Black Ops 2 was the one Call of Duty that I remember a lot of the maps just due to how iconic the game was. I have Cove as my selection. Now, some of you are going to argue and yell at me in the comments and go, dude, I loved Cove. There's going to be some people in here that don't have any memory of this map. This was on the Uprising DLC. There was this crash plane, but it had a very tropical island feel, bright blue, colorful. Like, I just miss these types of maps in Call of Duty where, I don't know, it just feels like we've every map we get now, the saturation's down to nothing. I mean, look at the Warzone map. My gosh, that is awful. And I really, really liked this style. I would like to see it come back. I actually don't see why this wouldn't fit well in Black Ops 6. I just think that they never bring back maps that should come back. And sometimes they bring back these maps that I feel like we've had 17 times. Why don't we start just dipping our toes in those old ones that maybe some of us loved, but they were just not played enough. Next up, we have Ghosts, and poof, we could have had a few on this, man. I kind of forget half the maps in this game, to be honest with you. And I'm still looking for somebody in Stonehaven, but that's not the map we're going to choose. We are actually going to go with Fog, and this was a part of the Onslaught DLC. Now why I say this was, I feel like a lot of people went back to Black Ops 2 and didn't experience a lot of the DLC. I did do the DLC, but at the same time, I was definitely playing a lot of Black Ops 2 back in the day. This was like this creepy swamp map, had a Halloween vibe, woods, cabin, the whole thing. And if you completed a field order, you could actually be Mike Myers. Despite my overall kind of hate for Call of Duty Ghosts, I will say their DLC it's gotta be some of the best in the franchise. They crushed it out of the park, and it didn't really lose the personality of the game like they are doing in the newer COD. So Fog, would I like to see this map come back with the field order? Yeah, but I'm gonna say something. I do feel like people would complain and they would say it's not realistic nowadays. We as Call of Duty fans, we don't know what we want sometimes. Advanced Warfare. Now, we had already lost a lot of people because of the jetpack era, but this map we're going with is called Atlas Gorge. Now, why I feel like a lot of you forgot about this map was, to get this map, you had to pre-order Advanced Warfare. And I feel like this was kind of the time where people weren't pre-ordering games anymore because they felt like it was a ripoff. The jetpack was turning people off. COD Ghosts had turned people off. And so this didn't really get played. And if you didn't know, if you remember Pipeline back from Call of Duty 4, this is actually a remake. And I feel like with the jetpacks, the map really didn't flow like maybe they thought it was going to. And it just kind of was dead on arrival, to be honest with you. So what I wanted back, maybe in a boots on the ground COD, but I don't have to have it back, to be honest with you. Black Ops 3. Can I tell you how much I love Black Ops 3? I know this is not a tier list video, but man, did we get a whole heck of a lot of content for BO3. We kind of took it for granted, including myself. This map here is called Gauntlet, but the premise of this thing was just awesome. It had 3 lanes, and each lane had a different environment, really. There was a jungle side, there was an Arctic side, and there was like this urban side. I don't know why, but I feel like this should have been talked about more. It should have been more popular, but it just wasn't. I really have no explanation of why. There's also a lot of other DLC maps in BO3 that just this game was so vibrant and colorful. I love that style of COD. So Gauntlet, I would love to see this come back. Now, there was one little area I don't think you could get to it if you didn't have jetpack. So we'd have to do a little bit of moving around because there was a section where you needed a jetpack. So if we do bring it back, which I would like to see it come back, we'd have to adjust that. But that's, somebody could do that, right? AI could do it. I'm kidding. Now we are on to Infinite Warfare. And this is another game that I feel like nobody had the DLC for, but that's okay. We're going to talk about this one because this one actually got me a little excited. As I was doing my research, I didn't know this. I have to be honest. As a Call of Duty historian, I did not know this. If you did know this, put it in the comments down below. This map is called Heartland. Now, if you played Call of Duty Ghost, this may look familiar. This is Warhawk from that game. Honestly, I like the vibe of it. I feel like this is a decent map. I loved Warhawk back in Ghost. I had no idea that they had remastered this. I don't know anybody that talked about this game. Honestly, I was playing COD 4 Remastered, like I've said in previous videos, but I would like to go play this map again. And I also think Warhawk is another map that I don't know if it's gotten remastered. I don't think it has in like Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 3. I think that map would fit perfectly. So we can either do Heartland or Warhawk. I'm down to bring it back. I'm down. All right, now we're in Call of Duty World War II. Let me check my notes here. This one was called Egyptian Sands. Now you're probably like, T, what in the world are you even talking about? This map didn't exist. Well, it really didn't exist if you didn't play this specific mode. It was called Dogfight. Now this was pretty much planes. You would get in a plane, you would fight other people planes. It was like team deathmatch. I never played this mode until like a couple months ago. I'm not even kidding with you. So if I hadn't have played this mode a couple months ago, I wouldn't even have known this map existed. I feel like a lot of you are going to be like, wow, I might have to go back to World War II because you need to go play this mode. It's not the best mode. The map was actually kind of cool. The mode kind of sucked, but if you played this, let me know. Black Ops 4, we have a map called Remnant, and I'm just going to show you some footage of this map. I have always said that Black Ops 4, their DLC, their whatever you want to call it, the Black Ops Pass was one of the most criminal things I've ever seen in my entire life. But the content that we actually got with it, it was pretty cool. Now, this map was multiplayer, but it had this zombies museum vibe, and the zombie stuff that was in this museum was little Easter eggs referencing the older zombies maps. I love this. They had transit, the transit bus, moon, and then there was even a teleporter that you could get in. I mean, come on now. What are we talking about here? Bring this map back ASAP. This is the kind of stuff that we need, that creativity that I feel like we haven't gotten in a couple years with maps. Bring it back. Modern Warfare 19. When I wrote this was one of my favorite things that I felt like was going to be talked about. This is Granza Raid. Now, you all remember this map probably for one reason. There's a clip that went super viral when the game first came out, because I believe this might have been a beta map in the beginning, but he's looking around. It's dead silent. There's nothing going on. He's kind of checking his corners. Nobody's aiming at him. Nobody's shooting at him. And then as soon as he walks out into the road, he gets lit up by about 90 different angles by the whole entire team. It might be one of the funniest Call of Duty clips I've ever seen in my entire life. I think after that clip came out, as soon as this map would pop up, people just backed out. And it's not like Modern Warfare 19 maps were that good. I think they maybe had like 3 good ones. So I'm going with this one. And let me know, did you see that clip? That was good, man. Cold War, we have Dprogram. Now, I feel like with this, Warzone just kind of dominated this era, especially with me. I was playing I felt like that was when Warzone was at its height. The integrations were really good. The guns from Cold War, using the MAC-10 and the FFAR and all that on Warzone, some of the best times I've ever had in gaming. But the multiplayer I kind of neglected towards the end of its life cycle. And this one was like a brainwashing facility in the jungle. It kind of had a concept around the campaign. And I just feel like when you drop stuff this cool, I think it came out in like season 5. That's just too late in the life cycle. How are we dropping these good of maps that late? Like, this could have been a launch map, and I know there was issues with launch and all the Switch devs and stuff like that. But imagine if this map would have came out with the game. It's just, it can change everything. It can change the perception of people and how they enjoy the game and how they remember the game. Because I just remember Cold War having like 4 maps at launch. I think it was 6 v6 maps. Dprogram, I'd be down to have come back. I really would. I really would. We'll be very quick with this one. This is Vanguard. I make the joke at this point, you can forget the whole game pretty much, but this is Desolation. I go back to this game every once in a while for my videos, obviously. For some reason, I get this map a ton now. I don't know if they just are pushing more of the DLC maps in the end of the life cycle as it's kind of dead. But I mean, my goodness, I don't remember playing this at all. I mean, it is such a, it has got to be one of the worst design maps I've ever played in my entire life. And again, we talk about this a lot. Near the end of life cycles of games, people are already thinking about the next game, and people knew it was Modern Warfare 2. Now, we didn't know what we were about to get with Modern Warfare 2. We were just hyped that, wow, we are getting Modern Warfare 2. How do we get out of Vanguard as quickly as possible? Nobody was playing this game. Nobody. So nobody even touched this map. Never bring this map back. I'm going to be pretty stern with this one. Modern Warfare 2, the new one. I'm going with DRC Zone 1. Number 1. I just said number 1. But my first point with this map is, that is an awful name for a map, by the way. Anytime you got to like think about what you're saying as you're talking, and it's a map name, not a good start. But this did drop relatively early. It was in Season 1 Reloaded. It's like this lab, very sterile, white walls, tight corners, kind of like a sci-fi James Bondish vibe to it. But I didn't like it. I didn't like it. And surprisingly enough, I've been giving Modern Warfare 2 a little bit of credit with maps. Their base maps were actually pretty good when you go back and look at them. But I feel like it kind of fell off as the DLC. Their DLC maps kind of fell off. And I felt like if you were playing MW2, you were more than likely playing the launch maps. You weren't playing these. I know there was no voting and stuff like that. But when DRC Zone 1 popped up, your boy was out of there when I did play MW2. Now we have MW3. And now this one's kind of tough because the maps in general they're all remakes. They're all OG MW2 remakes. So I guess I'm going to go with Derail for this one, because back in the day of OG MW2, nobody voted for Derail because of how big it was. It took forever to find, you know, people. And so when this game comes out, people are like, okay, well, I never played Derail back in the day. I'm definitely not playing Derail in MW3. I played it a couple of times, a handful of times, but if you can remember, if you did play MW3, try to keep track of how many times you played Derail. It never happened. I don't know why, just because I think the memory of people having it being awful in MW2, they just never voted for it in MW3, the new one. It doesn't play as bad as it did in OG MW2. I think it just had everybody's bad taste in everybody's mouth. And they're like, get this thing out of here. We want to forget about it. So they did. Would I want to see this map return? No, not at all. And finally, that brings us to Black Ops 6, which I know at the time of recording this video, it's really only like 6 months old, but there's a map in this game called Red Card. And I don't know what in the Infinity Ward layout this map has, but I try to forget about it anytime I play this game. If it pops up on the vote, I never vote for it. If it lands on that map, I back out. I don't know what it is. I feel like the soccer field would have been fun to be a part of the map, and you can't even get out there. So it just seems very cluttered. There's a million places to look. And again, it felt very Modern Warfare 19. Like, it felt like a Modern Warfare 19 map that came to Black Ops 6. It doesn't feel like a Treyarch map to me. So I try to forget about it. And would I bring it back in the next Call of Duty or whatever next Treyarch Call of Duty Absolutely not. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the most forgotten map in every Call of Duty, according to me. Let me know how I did. Did you think I missed any other maps? You think I did a pretty good job? I mean, listen, I think I nailed it, but that's just me. I really appreciate all the love and support. We're getting close to 500,000 subscribers, so make sure you haven't subscribed. You know, I'm gonna plug it right now. Hit the subscribe button real quick. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you want to watch another video of mine, go click over there, and we'll see you in the next one.